Might be wondering why there are so many more attractive women than there are men. It seems to be the case here. Guys complain that women are too picky, that they don't find any guys attractive. And I get that, but I have to disagree with it because I think there is a better reason for this, which is that most men never reach their peak. That's what I'm going to break down in this video. I'm going to tell you why most men never reach their peak and how you can actually reach your peak. First of all, let me define what I'm talking about by peak. What I mean by peak is peak sexual attractiveness. A woman in her peak is going to be attractive to the most number of men that she is in her life. A man in his peak is going to be attractive to the most number of women in his life. And the other thing about a peak is it's just that, not that you're just the most attractive that you are, it's that you are some level of attractiveness. So when I say that someone misses their peak, it's they miss their opportunity to be, quote, most attractive that they could have been. So now that you understand that, women in general do not miss that peak. Most women actually come pretty damn close to that peak just naturally without doing anything. Most men miss that peak. They don't come anywhere close to that peak because they have to do some things in order to achieve it. And that is the difference. And that is why you have a higher ratio of women who reach their peak and thus are more attractive than men who do not reach their peak and thus are not as attractive. And that's why women complain there's no attractive men and men say women have too high standards. Let's break this down a little bit further. So why do women almost always naturally reach their peak? And the main reason is because they don't really have to do anything in order to reach it. Now, it doesn't mean that a woman can't go to the gym, that she can't improve herself. It doesn't mean any of those things at all. It's not even an evaluation of men versus women, or they have it so much easier. There's plenty of things that women have that are harder than men and vice versa. We're not trying to get into a battle of this. We're just trying to look at the objective facts here because I don't care what's fair or what's unfair. Instead, if you look at the objective facts, what you'll find is that women are valued as far as their attractiveness level based on mostly their looks and their youth. And when we dissect that further and we say, what are they valued based on their looks? A lot of it is going to be things they don't really have to work for. For instance, of course, it is their face, but they can use makeup to appear more attractive. That is one thing. And then their body, in the sense that women have boobs, they have a butt. Those things you don't create yourself. You don't have to work for them. But even now, through cosmetic surgery, you can improve those things, and they have options of doing that, and that greatly enhances their attractiveness to the general population of men. So there's a lot of things that they can do in order to make it so that they reach their peak or even beyond what their peak should naturally be. And in addition to that, if they do nothing at all, besides, let's say, not get fat, most women are just going to naturally reach that peak, and it happens at a younger age. So they have less time to screw it up. Guys have a lot of time to screw this up because if we look at guys, and the reason why they never reach their peak is because guys generally peak, let's say from 35 to 45. I don't like to use the numbers here because it doesn't really matter. We just know that guys peak older, women peak younger. That's a good way of looking at this. So what happens? How does a guy reach his peak? In order for a guy to reach his peak, he has to do something. If you compared it, again, a guy that just did nothing, never worked out in the gym or anything like that, if you just take a standard guy, a guy's body, he doesn't look good. A woman does. A guy doesn't. In general, there's exceptions, of course, but in general, that's the case. So in order for a guy to have a good physique, what he has to do, he has to go to the gym, he has to work out, has to do all these things. If he doesn't do that, he will never reach his potential and thus never reach his peak. If a woman doesn't do that, she will still develop breasts. She will still develop her hips and her shape, which will still make her attractive to men. Do you see the difference here, guys? See where I'm getting at? So what else makes a man attractive? You could say definitely his facial features and whatnot, but a lot of facial features for guys, they are improved drastically by a lower body fat percentage and a higher muscle mass. For women, it doesn't matter as much. A woman, sure, if she has less fat on her face, if she was super overweight, it will improve her face, but it's not going to improve as much. In fact, women that are really skinny, that have very low body fat percentages, it actually, in many cases, makes their face not look as good. Whereas a man that is very lean, it makes his face look better. So literally, you have to work on that as well. Then we talk about other aspects that make men attractive. It's power. It is status. It is financial success, which contributes to power and status. It is confidence. It is all of those traits that create that persona. That's why it's so important for guys to develop that. Now, if you don't peak until, say, 35 and you get fat and you waste your time and you don't become successful and all of this stuff, you've lost it. You've lost your peak and you're not going to get it. And so majority of men, they never actually peak. They never actually reach their potential. They think that society and that women, that it's all unfair and the cards are stacked against them. I don't really care about what's fair. The truth is that they had a very, very high potential, but they lost it. They blew it. Now, you could balance this out. You could say, John, hey, it's not fair. Women just naturally can reach their peak. They don't even have to do anything. It's not fair. It sucks to be a guy. Well, okay, there's a counterbalance to this, which is that you can actually work to develop your peak and to actually reach your peak. And if you do, you'll be in the small percentage of guys that have actually reached their peak and that are actually attractive to women, because it is a much smaller percentage. And that means that those women will be fighting over you. That's the advantage that you have if you choose to exercise it. But most guys will never get that opportunity because they will never actually reach their peak. So now you might be asking yourself the most important question, which is how do you actually reach your peak? So let me tell you guys, if you're young, this is what you should be doing, is not wasting your time. Don't waste your time chasing tail. I'm not saying you can't do it at all. I'm just saying you're not at your peak yet. Instead of wasting your time doing that and hanging out with friends and doing all kinds of goofy crap that you guys do, focus on building your physique. It's going to take you years to do it, so you better start working on it now. Focus on building a business. Focus on becoming financially free. If you don't have a plan to become financially free, you're screwed. Because here's the thing, once you become financially free, especially if you can do it young, now you can spend your time focusing on improving yourself, on reading books, on developing yourself and growing and going to the gym more and doing all kinds of stuff that's going to make you a much more dynamic and interesting and attractive man of high status. That's not going to happen if you don't develop some kind of financial plan. If you want some help doing this, click the link down below. You can book a free 15-minute call with a Bulldog Mindset team member, and we will go over a financial plan for you to help you to become financially free, to figure out how to do this. So click the link down below and book a call. Now, if you want to know how to invest your money when you're in your 20s, watch this video next. I put together a comprehensive video on what you should be doing, how you should be investing your money in your 20s.